I am Erik the Travel Guy, and thank you for watching. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we're talking Alaska and cruising. So let's get right down to it. Can you book an Alaska cruise now, being January of 2021, for a future sailing? And the short answer is yes. There's some good news, but we must talk about some provisos and some red flags that you need to be aware of. That's why I made this video for you. And we are going to start at the beginning. Now, if you've taken an Alaska cruise before, well, then you already know you've got some options to consider in terms of itinerary. Check the official tourism bureau for Alaska, which is travelalaska.com. That's the official information that the state puts out on visiting the state. Also, there's another company that I really like, which is a private company called alaska.org. If you are a first-timer, there's a couple of items I want you to be aware of, because the big lines, and we're talking mass market cruise lines, and you know who they are: Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, Disney. They all go to Alaska. They all have itineraries there. Small ships as well go to Alaska for obvious reasons. A lot of the brands within those brands, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, also sail in Alaska. So you've got a lot of options. The problem is with the COVID-19 situation, are they actually going to go? Well, that's the $64,000 question, and nobody knows the answer to that, myself included. But hang on just a second. Wave season is now. Okay, now wave season, if you're not familiar with that, in the cruise industry, is that wave of bookings at the beginning of the year. That's when those lines want you to be booking those cabins now for later on. In Alaska, keep in mind, peak season for cruising and peak season for visitation in Alaska are the months of July and August. And there's a reason for that, of course, that being the best chances for the best weather and the longest number of daylight hours, okay? Shoulder season in Alaska, May and September. Shoulder season meaning the seasons that surround peak season, okay? Now, it's important to note, if it were me, I'd be booking an Alaska cruise now, take advantage of those cost savings, but I wouldn't look for an itinerary until at least August, maybe even September. And the reason I say that is because I want you to take advantage of the cost savings. All the cruise lines are doing deals right now because they want your money. Hello, they want your commitment. And most of them are offering very flexible cancellation, rebooking, or just I'm not going, a flat out cancel, or a future cruise credit, all that stuff. You need to have a travel advisor help you with that for your specific situation. Certainly, a 7-day itinerary is also appropriate. The other thing in terms of duration, the other thing I would highly, highly, highly recommend is a land and sea option. So you'll see verbiage like that as you look around the websites. Check Carnival, check Royal Caribbean, check Norwegian, check Disney. Again, check the official tourism bureau, and it'll talk you through sort of the big ship versus the small ship. For instance, you may not even be aware of a company called Uncruise Adventures. Okay, they've been around since 1996, and they are smaller ships, anywhere from 22 to like 86 passengers. They get you a little more up close, a little more expensive, of course, but they also have itineraries that are published now for later on this year. And that's a little bit of a different value proposition than a mass market, but look into that especially. And all of them have what are called land and sea options, where you're exploring a little bit of land in addition to your ports of call at sea. But the number one concern is, if you've cruised before, be mindful of the fact that the cruise is going to look and feel a little different. The cruise industry right now is still figuring out and still testing different initiatives and different policies and dealing with how are we going to have these people on board and keep our crew safe and keep our passengers safe and not have a COVID-19 outbreak on board. That would be devastating to a cruise line, as we have seen in the past. So they're working on that. Now the airline industry had to go through this, and they did it, and they're continuing to improve their operations. And the cruise industry has to do it as well. And it is going to be perhaps a rocky start, a little bit of a bumpy start as they learn what they can, what they can't do on board, what passengers will and what they won't do. So be flexible. That's the number one piece of advice I can give you. Can you do it? Absolutely. If you've not cruised to Alaska, absolutely go and do it. We have a whole series of videos on that, and there's a reason we did them. I absolutely loved it. An Inside Passage is a great starter 7-day cruise where you're just sailing up and doing places like Juneau and Skagway and Ketchikan and some of the fjords. So my point here is that no matter what, be prepared to be flexible, especially when that cruise may not actually happen and you may have to push it into 2022. Again, those are my 5 cents, or that is my 5 cents on cruising in Alaska. I am Erik the Travel Guy. More to come on this subject matter. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, all of the things that we do are always free to you. The only thing I ask is that you subscribe to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button. Nothing really is going to happen, but it means everything to us. We are your peeps. We are your family. We are your tribe. If you love travel as much as I do, you are always welcome here. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon.